Good morning, and welcome to your Friday Faith Fill-Up. It's good to be home and back in the office here at the church. Just wanted to share a quick thought with you this morning. If I look back and all the investment that people put into me, I remember my high school basketball coach, and he gave me a book. I don't remember who wrote it. I don't remember a whole lot about it, but the one thing that I do remember about it was that it was written by a basketball player who was talking about how he had to move himself aside. Even though he was the best player on the team, he had to move himself aside so that the team could shine, because it was about the team. And in a sense, one of the things I remember that he talked about was that he had to force himself out of the equation. And that didn't mean that he didn't play. That didn't mean that he didn't give his all when he was playing. But he had to have the mentality that it's a team effort. It's all of us that need to work. And in order for that to work, I can't be about me. Well, we find in the Bible an interesting story that I think is so valuable for us to understand this in an even greater sense than anything about sports. And even as a church, even as a Christian family, it's even greater than that. Moses was instructed to build the tabernacle, and when God gave him the specific instructions, he followed those instructions, and then God came and met in the tabernacle. And what an amazing sight that must have been. The Bible tells us in Exodus chapter 40 verses 34 and 35, it says, "Then a cloud covered the tent of the congregation, and the glory of the Lord filled the tabernacle." Could you imagine what that must have been like? But the next verse is really what I want to look at. It says, "And Moses was not able to enter into the tent of the congregation, because the cloud abode thereon, and the glory of the Lord filled the tabernacle." It's amazing to me to think that this cloud was so strong. The presence, the glory of God, we know it biblically as that Shekinah glory that was there. It was so strong that Moses couldn't even be there. He was, in a sense, if you will, pushed out. And that is so much of the Christian life. We can look at it collectively as a church family, that if it becomes about us, then we really miss the whole point. But when it's about God, we're kind of pushed out. We kind of see our insignificance. But in our lives, even when we have God working in the glory of God in our life, even then he pushes us out. We looked at this on Sunday morning. Remember Galatians chapter 2 and verse number 20, to understand that we are to die. And when we die, what we're doing is much what we find right here, that we realize that it's not us. We're not significant. But when we die, we find that Christ lives in us. That's the glory that we're looking at here, if you will, in a more New Testament sense. So as a team comes together and as they play together, and it's not about one person, when it comes to the walk with God personally and collectively as a church family, that it's not about one person. It's never about any of us. It's only about God, and it's only about his glory. And if we would understand that, we would find very quickly we would be pushed aside. We would become so insignificant, and we would even glory in the fact that we were insignificant, because now it's all about God. It's not about us. It's got to be all about God. So in all of our lives, whether it be in our church family or in our homes or even in our workplace, that we would recognize what John the Baptist recognized. I've got to decrease so that he can increase. I want his glory in my life to shine everywhere that I go, so that people will see God, that people will see Christ through me. I hope this is a blessing to you. Look forward to seeing you on Sunday morning.